We interrupt your program to issue a severe warning for an impending emergency making its way to your area. We urge you to be watchmen of the times and to be prepared with the essential knowledge and supplies for the wake of the final hour.
Welcome to the Final Hour podcast, again, coming to you from the original Living Word Christian Center out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is Lonaiah Farrell. I'm Jim Hammond. This is Johnny Gap. And this is our producer who's covering for D. Schrader, Trey McMurray.
It's Trey.
Welcome to our podcast room, Trey. Anyways,
It's good to have you, man.
and yes, it is good to
There's
have
a lot
you.
more smiles than Derek usually has.
Yes, Derek it's like freakouts, and half the time I look over there and I'm wondering what I'm doing wrong. You can talk all you want.
Yeah.
You can talk all you want if you have any opinions, but and you know, you'll see on the title, we're talking about blood moons and people they're calling the date of the rapture. And I'm hearing this so much, and I'm going to try to explain because it's really convincing why they're calling this date, this coming up date.
Yeah.
But John,
Yeah.
I see your name.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, welcome to the Final Hour podcast. We're so glad to have you. Check us out. You might be looking at YouTube. You might be looking at a podcast site somewhere, or you're listening. But check us out at
www.thefinalhourpodcast.com.
Yes.
That's all you have
What
to
she
do.
Perfectly.
said.
But listen, please subscribe, click that notification bell. That helps us let you know when we have stuff coming out, and you never know if it might be in the middle of a week. We might have something new to share, but we'd love to have your follow and your subscribe. So
And
Plus,
share it with a
please do.
friend.
Yeah, share it.
Share it.
That
Plus.
actually helps so much for our ability to get this message out
And our
and to share
algorithms.
it.
Jim
So,
loves the algorithms.
It can pump us into the
Al who?
algorithm world.
Algorithms.
Yeah,
Algorithms.
it's his favorite.
It is his
friend.
favorite podcast
Seems
word.
like I pray that word 3 times a day.
That's good. Thank you, Jim.
Yes. Before we get into the blood moons and the date of the rapture, which
Dun,
I'm not
dun,
giving a date, we have a couple of things really interesting. Okay, we've been telling you that the Iranians are bringing weapons in and burying them in the suburbs of Damascus, the oldest city in the world.
Right.
And you can know that as the war Ezekiel 38 is coming upon the destruction of Damascus. It will tell us a lot. It's being destroyed every day. You don't see that on the everyday news.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that we have not been able to report because we haven't seen anything, but we've been waiting for it, the Russians have 2 bases over there, and they're just kind of watching all this. Well, the Russians are now shooting back at the Israelis. S-300 Russian-made surface-to-surface
Right.
missile battery
Yeah.
fired at the Israeli F-16s on May 13th. All right, and Israel reported this. It claimed that the S-300 battery is operated by Russians, and that it constituted the first time that the Russians have fired at the Israelis. So they've been,
Interesting.
5 people were killed, 7 injured on Friday in a alleged Israeli airstrike in the Hama province and the west central Syria. And so now you got the Russians firing back. You're not going to
Yeah.
see that with Lester Holt.
No.
Okay, on NBC. Or CNN or MSNBC or probably even Fox News, right? You're not going to see all
Probably
that.
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, I was looking at this when you guys brought it up. Those S-300 surface to air. Those are the trucks with the missile stuff being on the back.
Oh, is
So
that the one that they just brought through Moscow on a parade
that's
like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Oh.
interesting.
Doesn't it have a name like Satan 2 or something?
I don't know.
One of them does.
The SA-10 Grumble.
The Syrians, as is their tendency, fired
The
all their
grumbler.
missiles.
Grumble.
They fire all their missiles they have, and when the Israeli jets begin moving away from the attack area, all right, Syria shoots them all up right away. The Russian battery fired a number of missiles at the jets as they were moving away, and that they didn't get anywhere close to the Israeli planes. There was no lock by the battery's radar on the planes, but this is a precedent, okay? One other quick hitter that if you're paying attention over there, Hezbollah lost their bid to lead the Lebanese government by 10 votes. Imagine that. You could have a terrorist organization leading the country of Lebanon. They have 16...
I'm surprised they even take a vote for that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it...
We're getting closer to Ezekiel 38.
Yeah.
Right.
It feels like it. It feels a lot like it.
And if Ezekiel 38 sends us into the algorithms, Ezekiel 38, Ezekiel 38, Ezekiel 38. Okay, anyway, sorry.
When you
I
talk,
saying that wrong?
does it take you into
Is
the
that why you keep
algorithms?
correcting
I
me?
thought it was a
What?
hashtag that takes you into
Hashtag Ezekiel 38.
Okay.
Nailed it.
All right. Anyways, wait, Lonaiah has got her. This, you wouldn't think this would be happening in a town in Israel, but facial recognition is
Actually,
coming
I
to a
believe it.
theater near you. Should I
Yes.
say a city near
Actually,
you?
there probably already is in a theater near you.
It might be. But in the Knesset committee,
Yeah.
they just passed this law last week. So they are they want to correct the police authority so that they can identify vehicles on the street and civilians as they walk, right? Because they feel like there's a lack in police authority, which isn't that interesting because we're defunding the police here, right? That was the slogan.
Yeah.
And so now we have a national mission to have a face recognition software. So this is a national mission to increase the rate of identification through technological means with oversight. This is a worldwide trend. This is what they're saying.
Yeah.
But it's starting in
Worldwide
Israel?
trend. It's starting in Israel in the Knesset. It's like the Knesset Law Committee. I was trying to look
It's-
up where it is, but I didn't.
It's
didn't get there.
interesting because in that part of the world, you know, there are car bombings. There are
Right.
things that happen like that. So obviously they're saying this will make us safe.
No, listen to what it's going to do. It can recognize you anywhere in public. It can recognize your vehicle. It can see where you are, what you're doing, when you went somewhere, didn't go. It's tracking you.
I've seen this.
It knows
movie.
if you're at home.
It knows if you're at home. That's one of the things. I don't.
They
Where
should
is
call it Santa Claus.
They should. But in addition to that, in addition to the facial recognition system that's getting launched here, Rome is launching Europe's first social credit system.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
And the Vatican. The
Yes,
Vatican.
the Vatican
yeah.
is. Yes, they are.
Social
So this is
credits.
towards their
Wild.
UN
Hold
20.
on. Let's listen to see
30.
how we can get social credits. Go
Hey,
ahead,
Jim,
Lonaiah.
if you put your recycling in the correct basket, you will get a social credit score. If you put your garbage in the right basket, you will get a social credit score. That's literally what it says. But let's not forget, did anybody see the tweet this week that
one?
said there's an increase in storms because of clean air? So because we've been recycling for like over 50% of goods,
So
our storms have increased by 33%. This is an actual article and tweet that went out. Because we have such clean air, we have more storms.
So
in the
climate
Atlantic.
change due to
Yes.
the fight against climate change.
Yes,
is what.
is what.
But well, because that's the weird thing. Climate change in the 70s, climate change was because the Earth was cooling down too much.
Right.
And now in the 90s, it's global warming, and now in the 2010s, the 20-teens, whatever, it's global change because you can't figure out which is which.
Right. And so in order to help us keep it clean, you
Right.
can get a social credit score if you put your recycling in the correct bin.
When they start giving you social credit
Yeah,
scores, you need to be extremely concerned.
Yeah.
Okay? But I want to go back to the facial recognition really quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is dangerous,
Yes.
right? And yes, they're doing it over there because their people are being attacked on the street on a regular basis. I
Right.
was just there for 9 days, and I think in those 9 days, 6 citizens were killed
Right.
in a row, just arbitrarily. and they're saying because their law enforcement has been decreased,
Right.
they've got to up the scale to know where everyone is. Doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't it make you wonder why they're trying to defund
I
the law
know.
enforcement? But what I'm saying is you need to fight facial
Yes.
recognition.
Yep. If you want liberty.
When that bill shows up in Congress.
Yep.
And just real quick, we talked about, what is it called? The global pandemic.
The International Pandemic Treaty.
Oh,
Yes, that's being voted on. Unfortunately, we can't, on this podcast, when this airs, this
Will
coming,
already have been voted on.
it would have,
Yes.
it's being voted on Monday night or Sunday night, Sunday afternoon.
That's
Slipping
the-
that in there
22nd.
Yes.
where all of our government's authority will be handed over to the World Health Organization,
The WHO.
the WHO, not the band, and who they call, what they call a pandemic. It's
Right.
what they call, if they're calling us in a pandemic,
Yep.
the Constitution goes out the door. Do you understand?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, do you have
Right.
something to add on that? This is dangerous.
I do have a few things to add on that because when the WHO came out with the pandemic treaty,
The who?
Joe Biden have you actually looked
Teenage
into the
waistline.
WHO?
It's
Yeah.
not that WHO.
Have you looked into the WHO? Do you know who the second biggest contributor to the WHO is?
Yes, I do.
Bill
Billy.
and Melinda
Yeah.
Gates Foundation is the
Billy G.
second highest donors. Okay,
he
but
is just, he's having a
He's-
great
he is.
couple of years.
is.
I'm not a fan.
no, you know. But anyways, that's a sidebar.
Well,
Like Google
yeah.
the WHO.
Yeah.
So the WHO actually, the director of the WHO gets voted in for 5 years.
Yeah.
So I read some things today about it. China was actually part of the vote in of the Ethiopian. I don't know his name. I can't pronounce it right. But it was through corrupt voting that he got put into place. Isn't that interesting?
Interesting.
So yeah. So anyways, so China
Fortunately,
is
it doesn't
behind
happen
the
around
WHO.
here.
No.
They're behind the World Health Organization.
Yes.
China.
And Trump got out of it in 2020.
Yeah,
He's like, why are we giving
because
our
this
money
is
to this?
No good.
Right. This isn't good. He
Right.
pulled it out. Biden reversed it, like a few
Yeah.
other things he did, right? He
Paris
reversed
Accord.
it. And not only when they gave the treaty, he gave 13 more things to them. Like, hey, you can be in charge of our international health emergency. So if the WHO decides that we have a state of mental health, right? A pandemic or a problem in New York like they did in Taiwan. No, not Taiwan. Was it Taiwan?
Hunan.
Wuhan.
Wuhan.
That they can shut it down and lock it down, right?
Shut it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
That means the Constitution goes out the door.
And
people,
you guys,
Yeah.
when
if
it gets
we lose this vote,
yes,
if they vote this in on Sunday,
yes,
all right, this coming Sunday, then
Shanghai.
Shanghai.
this we would have already taped this, and this will air the next day,
And
right?
yes,
Then that means under a pandemic type situation, or what they call a pandemic type situation, our government is not in charge.
no. And when this vote goes into place, when this treaty is signed, it goes into effect in 6 months. Which what happens in 6 months? Midterm elections. So nobody can reverse. Because, who's ever in control of Congress,
Right.
Senate, doesn't matter.
Right.
It's already in
Cannot
place.
be reversed.
Cannot be reversed.
So you're going to have China running our country in a pandemic situation if our really smart Congress goes with this, all right? So at least
So
you should
Let's
pray.
pray they read their
Because
bills that
there
actually-
For
has
wisdom.
Is there
Wisdom.
still
revelation?
because is there still a senatorial vote on this? Is this a treaty that
That's
that
what's happening
still has?
on Sunday.
Sunday.
That's what's happening on Sunday.
Yes.
The Senate is voting on this treaty.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so just a lot of stuff that we need to be paying attention to that
Yep.
they're certainly not reporting in the news. And so, let's see. Let me find the international, what's that called again? The International
Pandemic treaty.
Yeah.
Yes. It's taking place Sunday. All right. What's the date today?
The 17th.
All right. So,
May 17th,
so that would be the-
2022.
so that's
It's
the
the
22nd.
22nd.
Yeah.
Sunday the 22nd. All right.
Yep.
You'll see this aired on the evening of the 23rd
Maybe we
at
push
midnight.
it out. Let's see.
And so,
No.
Okay.
okay, now let's many people don't look into the depths of the verse I'm about to read you. They think it's God talking about separating the sun in the daytime from the moon in the nighttime.
Yeah.
Genesis 1:14 for all you word people out there. All right? God said, let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night. Right? Let them, why are they there? Let them be signs, okay, of God's provident care to mark the seasons, keyword, days and years. You have to look at the word seasons. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean winter, spring, fall, and summer. It means appointed time. Yeah. To mark the appointed time. If you look deeply into the verse we just read, he created the sun and the moon for them to be signs.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. To mark an appointed time.
Yeah.
And that's what we just read. We always think that when we see this word, we think of the seasons. But in Leviticus 23, the same word, the same Hebrew word, talks about the feast of the Lord.
Yeah.
That's there for the seasons. Okay? So the same Hebrew word for season, you think of feast, you're thinking of food, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, because all I've had today is 5 really strong garlic pickles. Does it smell like garlic pickles in here?
Oh, that explains so much. It's all you've eaten today.
That's all I've eaten.
Okay.
It's been a bad day.
Those are so good, though.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
What's that brand? The Whole Food brand?
I don't know. I'm just...
You know the brand you're talking to me?
Yes, I know.
What is it?
Gorello's pickles.
Oh, you got to try
Yeah,
those.
They're
are
good.
strong.
They're
strong.
good. They're good
They are
pickles.
good.
But I'm just like, I feel like I can see my breath right now, okay?
We're glad we're all far enough.
You know,
away
like
from you.
what, Pigpen? You know how you can see what's around Pigpen?
Yep.
It's not like that with me right now?
No.
Okay.
Ish. No-ish.
I'm glad John's really close to you and not me.
Hi, Lonaiah. Hey. Sorry. Okay. We just read, we just had a blood moon on Sunday night.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
May 15th.
I stayed up and watched it.
And I thought, I'm hearing so much about these blood moons, right?
Yeah.
And we're into the end times.
Yeah.
Which you could call a lunar eclipse.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
And I guess here in the United States, in the central time zone, you would have seen that blood moon at 9 p.m.
Yeah. Well, it
started at 9.
It started about 9, but it peaked at like almost at 11 p.m.
Well, you know what?
I kept waking up and looking out my window,
Yeah.
and then
I was
Except
I
you
was on the
guys-
deck watching.
I told my kids. I was telling my kids about it, and there's a group
Yeah.
chat, and so I texted my group chat to my kids, and we all thought it was Saturday night because I was so convinced that Saturday was the 15th, and I was like, "Go outside right now and look at the moon."
That is so like you
And
to
my
have
son,
it be a day off.
And my son was at a baseball tournament, and he gets he's in a room with 10 guys. They all go
man.
outside, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, my mom was wrong."
My mom missed the day.
I hope I don't miss Jesus' return.
It's on the 15th.
Okay, anyways.
So I was in bed.
Yeah.
All right. I did not see it. I go to bed early.
Cool.
9. This was a full, what they call a full super flower blood moon.
It was cool.
It was a full super flower bread moon.
And this eclipse took place, and I'm not an astrologer, and I'm trying to put this as simple as possible, but it took place during something called a supermoon period. All right, that's when the full moon is as close to the Earth as it can get during orbit.
It felt like it.
Did it?
Yeah.
Like you could reach out and touch it.
Did.
It was
It was
really.
wild.
It was.
Blood moons have a red appearance.
It was very. It was incredibly red. Like
Actually,
it's not like you think it's going to be like.
No, it
Just
looks like it's
a
on
reddish,
fire. My
but it
son
was-
took pictures.
Yeah.
But the day before, when I did go outside on Saturday to look
The
at
wrong
the moon,
day?
the wrong day, there was like a blue weirdness around the moon.
Yeah.
There was something the day before too. Okay,
Here,
guys.
do you want to see my picture?
Lonaiah's
It's
showed
red.
me.
It's.
Yeah.
It's
I've
like,
seen the pictures of the
Okay,
blood
Jim.
moon.
We're sorry you were asleep when
I
it
was
happened.
out.
because
And
you're
it was-
too cool.
And it looks like that's what it looks like when it passes through the shadow of our planet. But let me give you some occurrences of some historical blood moons, really significant things. Christopher Columbus discovered the New World. Also around that same time, his own countrymen of Spain are expelling a bunch of Jews,
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of them, during a series of blood moons.
Yep.
Like we're experiencing now.
Yeah.
You had a series of blood moons occur after the establishment of Israel as a nation.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Okay, 4. You had a series of blood moons happen after Israelis took back Jerusalem in 1967 from Jordan. Yeah. Okay, 4 moons in a row. So not in a row, but over a small period of time. You've had big time events in regards to the Jews around these blood moons. Okay, because the Vikings really discovered America. We're aware of that, right?
That's what people say. But Billy Brim was talking about that, like 7 years ago when she was here.
Yes.
Do they call that a tetrad?
Wow, you read my mind. To me,
John, they do call it.
The bigger event, people don't realize this. They kick out hundreds of thousands of Jews out of Spain. Okay, at the same time, Joel 2:31, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood. The Bible talks about this before the great and terrible of the day of the Lord comes. I'm just saying it's not like we look at every single blood moon.
Right.
And so what's going to happen?
Right.
Right.
All right. Because blood moons happen regularly enough that where scientists can predict them.
Correct.
But the Bible does tell us over and over that astronomical events have significance. So Jesus even said there are signs in the sun, moon, and stars, and they would actually announce his return. So this is what we're getting at today. I'm not going to try getting into explain all the Jewish feasts, all the Jewish holidays, and what they mean. We don't have time for that because, we're trying to do this in less time in hopes of getting more viewers and subscribers and listeners, right? But the Feast of Trumpets, which is the very next feast to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Right? I want to talk to you about that. It's a Jewish feast. The Feast of Trumpets is also known, as I can't pronounce it in Hebrew, but I'll just spell it out for you, as the day of the awakening blast.
Yeah.
All right? And there are all kinds of scriptures that point, and scholars swear by the fact that the rapture is happening on Rosh Hashanah, or the Feast of Trumpets.
Yeah.
All right? And I'm talking to you, about a year, okay? We don't know the year. We don't know the exact day.
Yep.
All right? We don't know the hour, but there are a lot of guys out there that know a lot more than me that are narrowing this thing down. I'm talking about when the rapture is coming. You could call them scholars. I'm just paying attention to what they're talking about here.
Yeah.
Because this is a big deal.
Yep.
Many scholars and people that commentate the Bible believe that the rapture is going to happen over the 2-day time span of the Feast of Trumpets. All right?
Yeah.
For years as a kid, I would hear Jesus could come at any time.
Right? That makes sense when you talk about the Feast of Trumpets being the time that Jesus would come back, because it talks about a trumpet being blown.
Yes, and
The shofar.
The shofar.
how's that again, Lonaiah?
Just one time.
No, let's hear that again.
I don't think that's how it is. I think isn't it like a loud?
He's really good with the sounds.
I think most boys are.
Not me.
Sure.
But I believe.
No, we heard your gunshots a little earlier. Pew pew.
I believe in its appointed time that the rapture is coming, just like his death was an appointed time.
Yeah.
People don't realize that
there was an eclipse, right?
He had to die on Passover.
Yeah.
And God knew that time was coming. And the rapture could happen in a year because the Feast of Trumpets is a 2-day feast. It could happen in a 2-day time span.
Yeah.
But in a period over 24 hours, you have to understand, remember the fact, we have 24 different time zones.
Right, right.
In the world. So no one is going to be able to pin down the time.
Oh, yeah.
Ever as that exact time. But September, this coming September, is a Feast of Trumpets. Okay? And it's a very significant Feast of Trumpets. All right? In Leviticus 23, these feasts were called convocations.
Yeah.
Right? Which literally means a dress rehearsal. The difference between our generation and all the other ones that passed before us is they all have signs of his coming. They've all had signs.
Yeah.
But we see all the signs.
Yep.
We see all the signs. And so we're talking about these blood moons coinciding them with the Feast of Trumpets because we are in a series of blood moons right now.
Yes.
All right?
Right.
And could a series of blood moons connect us to the rapture? Well, back in 2015-16, you had 4 blood moons in 18 months.
Yep.
Back in 14-15?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
Astrologers call that what is that, John?
A tetrad.
Yes, a series
Yay.
of 4 blood moons. Yep. Gee, what a coincidence. All 4 of those blood moons occurred on those Jewish holidays. Right. Okay? Let me go into detail. 1492, you had the Jews expelled from Spain. I said that, right? It was the beginning of bringing the Jewish people back together.
Yeah.
You know, the God was trying to start to bring them back together.
Yep.
The beginning of prophecy, which he prophesied. Also, Columbus discovered America. Did you know Columbus was Jewish?
I've heard rumors.
Well,
I just heard that the other day. I was like, wow.
think about this.
Yeah.
The first big expulsion of the Jewish people, and then America gets discovered.
Right.
How many Jews wind up in America over
Tons.
time?
Yeah.
Countless, right?
Yeah.
The next tetrad, 4 blood moons, over a period in 1949 and 1950, right after Israel becomes a state, gets independence.
Yep.
Notice how all these are connected to something big. Then the next tetrad, 4 blood moons, was right over Israel after they took Jerusalem back.
Yep.
After the 6-day war. All right. So then, okay, those 4 blood moons were over the 67-68 time frame, in 1967-68 time frame.
Yeah.
All right. Let me give you the belief and comments. And you would call this guy an expert. His name is Mark Blitz, who wrote a book called Blood Moons, Decoding the Imminent Heavenly Signs. Joseph's dream, okay, is a type of Jesus. Joseph was a type of Jesus. Remember his dream?
Yep.
7 years of plenty.
Yep.
7 years of famine.
Right.
Right? Remember those blood moons in 2014, 2015, were more or less, if you think about it, a kicking off of 7 years of prosperity.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was up until COVID hit. Everything was like, we're like, could it be going any better?
It couldn't.
As far as where we were going, everything was booming, literally booming. And you had the 4 blood moons kind of giving us a warning, right? That when that 7-year cycle of prosperity ended, it would begin the cycle of famine.
Yeah.
Okay? Joseph's dream, 7 years prosperity, 7-year cycle of famine. We've talked about famine coming, like we've done multiple times. Famine is coming. All right? It's on the horizon.
It's getting closer by the day.
You had the 4 blood moons in 2014-15. 7 years later.
Yep.
Okay? 7 years later. 2 blood moons in 2021. We just had a blood moon on May 15th.
Yep. And there's another one
And
this
now-
fall.
November. Yeah.
We're in the midst of what's that word again, John?
Tetrad.
Yes, we're in the midst of that again. Now we've got the 4th blood moon coming in November, finishing out this tetrad of blood moons, November 8th, 2022. So interesting. The
Yeah.
Jewish New Year begins at Rosh Hashanah in September. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So this year, for the Jewish New Year, all right, restarts, a new year starts this coming September.
Yeah.
All right. Are you guys staying with me?
I
Yeah.
am. Yes.
Staying with me? You staying with me, Trey? All right. I don't have time to explain what a Shemitah cycle, the 7-year cycle is.
Yeah.
Do you want to say
You just
Well, you started. You were talking about Shemitah cycles and stuff in church recently when you were talking about Daniel 9, right?
Yes.
So the Shemitah cycle is that what the 7-year things? That's
Yes. There's 7-year
Yeah.
cycles. Okay. And these scholars, all right, because we're trying to keep it shorter, they insist that the tribulation has to begin at the beginning of a Shemitah cycle. All right. So the Shemitah cycle goes 7 years. We are currently in the last year of a Shemitah cycle. So that end of the Shemitah cycle ends in September at Rosh Hashanah. The first year of a Shemitah cycle is very significant, and that's what we're entering in late September, early October, the first year of the next Shemitah cycle. So just to be clear, we're at the end of a Shemitah cycle.
Yep.
In the middle of these blood moons. The 7-year Shemitah cycle technically ends in September, starting coming out of the Feast of Trumpets, which is September 25 through 27. All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
A brand new Shemitah cycle begins rolling into October.
Interesting.
So that first year of the next Shemitah cycle, which comes into place in October 2022, many scholars believe this is the beginning of the tribulation. Right?
Interesting.
Yes. That the tribulation has to start at the beginning of a Shemitah cycle. All right?
Yeah.
So if it doesn't start at the beginning of this Shemitah cycle, then it backs up to 2029.
Right.
That's why you're hearing all those words,
Right.
2022 or 2029.
Yep.
Right.
Right? Therefore, the rapture has to take place, what they're saying, over the Feast of Trumpets, which is September 25 to 27.
Yeah.
But you've got 24 different time zones. No one can nail that down.
Right.
No.
Where exactly that is. So the first year of a Shemitah cycle, let me take you into history. First year, Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the Jewish temple. Okay?
Right.
This is what we're coming into.
Yeah.
All right, out of the Feast of Trumpets.
Yep.
The first year of a Shemitah cycle, Rome destroyed the Jewish temple in 70 AD. First year of a Shemitah cycle. In 1967, Six-Day War, Israel, and remember, that was in the middle of the blood moons,
Right.
which we're talking about,
Right.
had won back Jerusalem, happened the first year of a Shemitah cycle. Israel took out the Iraq nuclear reactor. Nobody paid any attention to that. Nobody, a lot of people don't even know about that.
Right.
What was the first year of a Shemitah cycle?
Yep.
You had the Gaza war starting on the first year of a Shemitah cycle. The stock market crashed on the first year of a Shemitah cycle. We are coming into the first year of a Shemitah cycle. And I don't have time to talk about it, but it's also a Jubilee year.
Yeah.
All these things in the middle of the blood moons.
Right.
And the blood moon is November 8th, the last one. And what's that word again, Jim? Tetrad. We're in the middle of this. So this is why these guys, I'm seeing they're saying it's coming. And I'm not saying that. I'm not.
He's just telling you
predicting.
what scholars are saying.
I said we need to dig into why is everybody predicting this September 25 to 27 date. So we had in 2014-15 4 blood moons, which was the end of a Shemitah cycle.
Yeah.
All right. And they were going into the beginning of a Shemitah cycle, i.e. Joseph's dream, 7 years of plenty. Now we're into the 7 years of famine. Keep in mind, God's people always prospered in famine.
Yep.
You have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I'm studying
Look
now.
at the children of Abraham.
Abraham.
Yeah.
Isaac dominated in a famine. And so it's not something to fear here. What I'm trying to, if anything, it opens up, if we're in a famine situation, it opens up the opportunity for the power of God to step in.
Right.
What I'm trying to say, if the tribulation doesn't begin in the next Shemitah cycle, then the rapture probably isn't coming for another 7 years.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what all these guys are saying.
Right.
These guys.
Yeah.
If you want to know who these guys are, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of
that know a lot more than me.
I always get the feeling, just looking at everything, and everything seems to be speeding up, right?
Right.
When you look at everything, you were talking about, there's been signs before, but it feels like all the signs are coming together. But I feel like what we're in right now is a setup for 7 years from now. But
Yeah.
that's the way it feels.
Right.
Another 7 years.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Anyways,
I don't know.
We're supposed to be dominating.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we've talked about famine. Famine is one of the signs. I don't remember if I said this or not, but the railroads are not shipping fertilizer in the amounts, the U.S. railroad companies, in the amounts enough to where farmers are adequately supplied. They're doing it on purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
The railroads are refusing to ship grain, so farmers are having trouble feeding their animals, i.e. animals die.
Right.
This is going on in the United States right now.
Yep.
No one's reporting this. I know. It's all because of the Ukraine. That's not true. What CNN is telling you, it's not true.
No.
They're doing this on purpose. They want a famine. It's not coincidental that you had 4 blood moons, in my opinion, kicking off to close 7 years of prosperity. Now we've got in the middle of 4 blood moons to what scholars believe is going to kick off 7 years of famine.
Right.
Mixed in with the Shemitah cycles, many people are predicting the rapture to come September 25 to 27.
Yeah.
In one of those time zones this coming September.
Yep.
I'm just trying to explain to you why you're getting this prediction.
Right.
Why these people are all over this. And these people are smarter than me.
Yep.
They understand a lot more than me. And Lonaiah,
A lot more than all of us
All
at
of
this
us,
table.
for sure.
from today in the office, Lonaiah knows they understand a lot more than me. Okay?
And definitely more than me.
Okay. But Lonaiah,
Same.
you had something to add on to this blood moon. There's something more about this because what did you
Yeah, so last week in China, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but the sky turned red.
It was
literally red.
Yeah.
So you can hear audio recording of people like panicking and screaming like, why is this sky red? And they're trying to say it's like emissions from the boats.
Right.
But there was no boats out there because they were all locked down, right?
Right.
So they couldn't explain it. But there is a scripture in Joel 3:3 that said, before the great and terrible day of Hashem comes, I will set portents in the sky and on earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall turn into darkness and the moon into blood, which we've talked about. But the sky, I mean, go back and Google it if you haven't seen it yet. It's red.
Yeah.
Like the moon.
It is.
It's crazy.
People
are panicking.
And it's multiple people
Yes.
With recordings of the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we want to just thank you for watching. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Thank you for subscribing. And we pray for you. We pray for our viewers.
Yep.
I pray for you. Everything I pray for myself, I pray for you. Honestly, you are in my prayers. We prayed for you as a team.
Yes.
And, it's not a reason to fear. We have,
exactly.
It's kind of like an honor to be here and see what God is going to do. Because as the evil rises, God rises.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
God rises in the end. And so thank you so much for those of you that have contacted us. And, be praying. Well, it's a little late because they're going to see this and the vote would have already happened, right?
Doesn't matter. Keep praying.
You need to pray for your government. This is why you pray for your government. In this situation, 2 or 3 votes could matter. You don't think God could turn somebody's mind just to say, I'm not voting for this.
Right.
Right.
I'm not voting for this. He could do that just with the snap of a finger.
Right.
This is what we need. We do not need to come under the guise of China and the World Health Organization in a time of pandemic.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the United States separates themselves from this this craziness that is, obviously going to be the EU or the whatever. We don't want to be a goat nation. We want to be a sheep nation. I don't want to go with that junk.
Well, I just don't want to lose my freedom.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want them.
Agreed.
Because at this point, we're a free country.
Yep.
Right. But I'll tell you what, everything goes out the door in a pandemic if the World Health Organization is in charge of where you can go, what you can do, and what you have to put in your body.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll leave it with that. I pray Psalm 5:12 over every single one of you in the name of Jesus. Thank you for watching today. God bless you guys.
God bless you.